I've said this thousands of times. When you know something, you never have to defend it. If you have to defend something, you're defending it because you're trying to convince yourself that you know it. That one will really sting. And it's meant to. You see, when we can get our emotions to be our key, when we get our emotions to serve us and understand to observe our emotions, tells us where we are. Because we're never going to stop it. I don't care how much meditating you do, how spiritual you become, you're going to have emotional reactions, but you've got to be able to pause in that moment and say, I'm having an emotional reaction. What is this trying to tell me? So let's look at this idea of judgment. There are two kinds of judgment. There are human and spiritual judgments. The human judgment is based on appearances. Appearances could be physical, they could be emotional, they could be an illusion that you create within your own mind. But the human is always based on appearances. It believes that inanimate created things have power. It believes that you can be a victim. Because that person said that, so therefore I'm responding. It's that person's fault. We're giving the power to something outside of ourselves. That's human judgment. Human nature judges anything that helps one survive as good. And there's nothing wrong with that. Judging whether you want to be in front of a water moccasin snake, that's a good judgment. Don't be there. Do you want to train cobras like they do in India, where they play with the cobra and the cobra's just right in front of them, about this far away all the time? They're trying to hypnotize it to keep. Do you want to do that? My judgment says no. Judgment can serve us. So but remember, it helps us survive, and that's good. The key thing is, how do we define the word survive? What is survival? Have we taken it beyond life and death? And have we made it survive? Oh, I have to have my views, my opinions survive. And you see, when you have that view, you put yourself in a box and you no longer can think with an infinite mind. Opinions are just opinions, and they change. Anyone have an opinion that's changed in their lives? My God, I have gone all over the ballpark. I've gone from a liberal who was marching for civil rights. I've gone from a liberal marching for marijuana. This is back in the late 60s, early 70s. I was in those marches for things. God forbid, I've even gone to the other end of the extreme when I was in the corporate world, and I would listen to Rush Limbaugh on a daily basis. I had opinions then. Now I've come back, and I now listen to Lee Wolak. Because I realize that my source is not someone outside of me. My source is me. And what I do for myself is I'm constantly questioning. So I listen to everything, and then I come up with my opinion that I live by until I decide to change my opinion. Here's the human judgment, judges anything it perceives, not supporting one's personal point of view as bad. Think about that one. That really nails it. If it doesn't support our personal point of view, we label it as bad. Whew. Think about it. In a moment, when my mother died, I labeled my mother's death as bad. Wouldn't you agree? That if your mother died and you loved your mother, you would label it as bad. But if you step back and I look at it and say, my mother died and my mother's no longer in pain, that's good. I don't have to no longer worry about being a caretaker for my mother because she's moved on. That's good. I'm free of the race consciousness that surrounded the relationship that I had with my mother. That's good. Do you see how in the midst of describing something that we consider the worst thing in the world is losing someone close to us as our mother or a parent or a child, something like that, we can step back from that and find that there are good things if we just allow ourselves to look at it differently. Because if you take what I just said, do you see that there was balance on both sides? And do you see that the balance always existed? And the balance always will exist, because in this idea of divine, there will always be balance. There'll never be a one-sided life of this or that. There will always be balance. If we get a new job, there'll be as many good things with it as bad things, just like our current job has as many good things and bad things. The question is, when we're making the decision, are we looking at just the bad in one and just the good in the other, or have we balanced it on both sides to make a comparison and then gone within us and said, how does this situation affect my current values and my living to my values as an individual? Because until I can individually accept it, I can't go to my partner and say, this is what I would like to do. Because when we make decisions first for ourselves. And then if we're in partnership, we bring our partner in and we make a decision together. But until we make the decision for ourselves that it's the right thing, it could be that we may be subordinating ourselves to someone else. I've done that. I've done that so many times in my life, and I now am very self-actualized. In other words, I'm not self-absorbed, self-centered, selfish, all of those things that people might describe me as. I'm self-actualized because I look at this life that I have is my life. I get to create Lee as I want Lee to be. And I'm really conscious about how I want to create this individual. And I'm now in partnership, and I've been in partnership with Jean for 44 years. But before I co-create with Jean, I'm creating with Lee. And then we come together and we begin the co-creative process. Am I making sense? What I'm trying to say is, and before I create with Lee, I go within and create with Lee, the human, Lee, the spiritual, and Lee, that's part of the infinite. I go into meditation. I go into meditation because I know that the divine wisdom that I receive there will not have judgments, but it will feed me thoughts that will give me ideas. It will feed me questions that will help me to feel, see, and know more. Meditation is where I find my wisdom. It's where I find my peace. It's where I found solitude. I can't tell you, I'm an extrovert in case you don't know. I love to be an extrovert half of the day. I've now changed where I love my silence. I love my quiet time because then I can get to be with my best friend, me. And when I'm with my best friend, I love being with me when I'm quiet. I don't really like the Lee that goes yap, 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 yap all the time. And a lot of people here know the Lee that goes yap, 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 yap all the time. But the one I really love is the one that's still, that's at peace, that understands and knows that this life is just a place to find the divine within me and to live from that connection. So let's go to this other aspect of judgment. Spiritual judgment is simply when we realize that whatever appears in our lives is the product of our own consciousness. Because how anything comes into our life, it's our interpretation of it that gives it its meaning, it gives it its feeling, it provides us with emotions. We can be blinded and we will naturally step forward and respond. Well, not respond, we will react to it. But when we understand spiritually that from a spiritual sense of judgment, I can look at what appears to be chaos and realize that for growth to happen, there must be chaos, there must be a destruction of the old in order for there to be the creation of the new. So when I see chaos, I say, oh, what's happening in this universe? The universe is desiring to shift. The human race right now is saying things are not working exactly for the benefit of all. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I was having a conversation with a minister friend. And that conversation with this friend is about what's happening in the election, what's happening in politics right now. And I said to this person, I understand where you're coming from. And this person says, you can't possibly understand where I'm coming from. And I backed up and I said, share with me. She says, what you don't understand right now is that there is tons of legislation being proposed at the state level that is restricting freedoms of gay and lesbian couples, restricting freedom of transgender, and things of that nature. And this person is a gay woman, married, with a child who's biracial. And she says, you don't understand that everything I see is targeting us. Do you understand that? That you can't put yourself in someone else's shoes that's different. But if you can come from the spiritual perspective and realize that we're all so uniquely different, we're all so uniquely different, and that we have to say what's in the best interest of all, not what's best interest in the few. And so this beautiful woman said to me, she said to me, Lee, you can't possibly understand. You're a white male. You are abundant. You'll never have to worry about this stuff. And I sat back and I said, well, damn. I am a white male. I looked in the mirror, I'm still white. And I want you to know, when I was in college, I had an afro and I got tanned and I thought I was black for a while, but I was fooling myself. And I want you to know I look really good with an afro and a tan. But that's a personal perspective. The other thing I know is, am I abundant? Yes, I've worked all my life to build in a sense of abundance, and I was blessed that I had the idea that you start young and you build and build and build, and so I did not spend, but I built money and I built assets so that I am extremely comfortable where I'm at. So when I look at these programs out there, I have to take a step back and say, step out of being Lee and step into the position of others and see what would be in the greatest interest of all. Because here's the thing, when we don't understand that there's enough for all, we don't understand God. Because in God, there's always enough. There's more than enough because God is unlimited. There's an infinite supply of money. Do you get that? There's got to be an infinite supply of money because after 9/11, 2008, we printed more money than ever existed. The question is, how do you get yours? How do you get that energy coming to you? And it's about opening yourself up to the divine flow within you and you putting a service out there, you building a consciousness and you attracting it. And see, when we understand spiritual judgment, we understand that our appearances are just signs of what's going on inside. So if there's not enough money in our lives, we have to understand I must change my insides so that I can have the person in me be the one who expects abundance, who knows that they have value, who goes into the world and provides that value. And as they provide the value, they know the energy must come back in the form of money. Making sense? The other aspect about spiritual is it tells us we must never fight a condition. You can't fight against something and get something you want. You've got to be for something. You've got to create a mental energy that is for something. Because if you are for it, the universe must be for you. If you are against it, the universe will be against you. Did you hear that? It is this idea, and Ernest Holmes said this so clearly, we must turn ourselves to that which we are for and not be fighting against what we don't want. So if there's not enough money in our lives, we cannot be going from the standpoint, there's not enough money in our lives. We must go from the standpoint that as a spiritual being in human form, I have infinite abundance in my life. Therefore, I'm going to live, breathe, and act that now. And as I live, breathe, and act that now, and I start taking steps toward what I want, bringing service, the universe brings it to me. It always does that. But most of the time, one of the biggest mistakes we made in the spiritual movement is that we think if we meditate and we pray, things will happen. You forgot the key thing. We are in human form. So you meditate, you clear your mind, you pray, you direct your thought towards you want, and then you must move and speak, act in the direction of what you want. Regardless of whatever is happening around you, you do not care what anyone else thinks when you're moving towards your dream. You've got to be very self-disciplined. You must be self-actualized. You see, you're actualizing yourself into your divine vision, and your divine vision is unique to you, and you understand that the power is within you because you've connected through meditation. You've directed the word, the power that creates within you, and you've now acted in alignment with that, and there is nothing that can get in your way. My son Matthew, on the day of the election, he was pretty upset by it. Because my son Matthew's gay. My son Matthew is married. And he was talking about the views of our vice president. And he says, Dad, this is going to affect our ability to adopt. And I says, are you done pouting? And he says, Dad, you don't understand. I said, you don't understand something, son. That these people, whoever they are on either side of the coin, are not our source. And I said, the second you decide that you want to adopt, your mother and I are going into prayer. And when we pray, it happens. It's that simple. We didn't understand this, but my son that's in the back of the room is an answered prayer because we were told we could never have kids. And then we got together and we put the intention into the world, and within 9 months, we had that little boy on our lap. When you set your goal so clear without any doubt and you put the power that's within you into it, there's no way you cannot succeed. The question is, are you bold enough to step in to your power? You see, here's the thing. Agape feels good, but here's the thing that sometimes ruffles our feathers. Spiritual judgment creates a personal responsibility. And with personal responsibility, there's no place to hide. Do you hear that? Do you really hear that? There is no place to hide. Because when you accept responsibility, you can't blame anyone or anything for where you are. You can't blame them for your money. You can't blame them for your health. You can't blame them for your relationships. You can't blame them for your job. You can't blame them for anything. But the beauty of it is, in this moment, you can change. You can shift that thought. You can clear your mind through meditation. You can start to direct your word through prayer, through affirmations, through gratitude, through forgiveness. You set a clear intention that's aligned with your values that makes you unique. And you move in that direction, and the world parts. You see, the symbolism in the Bible of the waters parting for Moses was the symbolism that the intention of the Jewish people to come out of slavery was so strong that even the waters parted so that they could go and find their promised land. The question I ask you is, do you know where your promised land is? And are you willing to be bold, to be powerful, to be committed, to walk toward it? Close your eyes. And begin to breathe. And as you breathe, let go of everything that's been said. Just be right here now, present in this very moment, right here. No thoughts of anyone, anything, right here. Let your mind be still. Peace, be still, and know that I am. What we put after the I am is our individual choice. So what is it that's desiring, that's burning within you to be expressed? Is it, I am abundant? Is it, I am lovable? Is it, I am loving? Is it that perfect health resides in every cell of my being? Is it, I am connected to all that exists and I'm abundant with people who love and support me? Whatever it is, feel the feeling of having that which you desire. Begin to flow from your thoughts through your body, through every cell. Allow that to just immerse you within a bath of connection, a bath of love, a bath of health, a bath of beauty, a bath of abundance, a bath of your unique, perfect self-actualization. In that feeling of self-actualization, know that you are the chosen one. You are the chosen one because in this moment you have chosen to be you. You've been chosen to brace your power. You've been chosen to let go of anything that doesn't serve you. You have been chosen by your own inner being to say, I am no longer playing small, I am playing all out. And in playing all out, I step into my greatness, into my power. And in that, all fear disappears. All guilt, all the past just walks away, and God is present as me and as you, and it is good. And so we bless it. We bless it, we call it good, and we affirm it as we say. And so it is.
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.